The strangers, believe me when I say, loving me is loving danger. Your heart is bound to break. I walk alone in the night, beneath the pale moon, loving's for the fools. Baby, beware of my bite. I'm alone, I'm alone, I'm a lone wolf. 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 I'm a creeping through the shadows in the corners of your mind. run, but I don't hide. I hear the call of the wild, whispering my name. No, I can't be tamed. My heart belongs to the night. I'm alone, I'm alone, I'm a lone wolf. 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 I'm a
Alright guys, just finding some last minute interesting articles. So, yeah. Alright, so we are going to talk about this straight pride parade. Oh boy. Oh, trolling at its finest. So we're going to talk about that because I've been wanting to talk about it for a while, and every time I talk about it or go to talk about it, someone goes and declares war on the internet. So it's been kind of hard. But yeah. Sorry for the stream being late, guys. The reason is I was waiting on deliveries, and yeah, I had to wait for the delivery man to turn up. He's delivered my dishwasher, range hood, cooktop, and oven, and yeah, I just had to wait for that. All right. So I presume a lot of people are going to watch this on demand later. So yeah. Hello, Eric. How are you? Panda should be up right about now. All right. So yeah, we're going to go through it. We're going to talk about the Straight Pride Parade. Doc citizen launches legal fund to sue the Daily Beast. Doctors insisted that she have an abortion, but the baby ended up being perfectly fine in the end. 911 call from Jussie Smollett has been released. And ISIS plan to send, plan to send through Westerners to the US through, plotted to send Westerners to US through Mexico border. So we'll have a look at that. Ladybugs, whole bunch of ladybugs made a large blimp on the screen on the radar. It's all fun and games. All right. So obviously, apart from that, guys, we just jump straight into it and get this show on the road. So let's start. Alright, so it's LBGT Pride Month, but 3 guys in Boston won a permit for a straight pride parade. I don't see the problem with that. If you can have your gay pride, why can't we have our straight pride? Pride Month kicks off in Boston Tuesday with lights event, and a paint night. Okay, and preparations for a possible straight pride parade this summer. The event to celebrate heterosexuality of one of the nation's most gay-friendly cities is meant to poke fun at the identity politics of the political left, organizer Mark Sherry wrote on a Facebook comment. The parade organizers have designed a flag and designated the actor Brad Pitt as the mascot. Oh boy. For them, everything is based upon identity and whether or not is one categorized as a victim or an oppressor, Sari wrote on Facebook. If you get a victim status, then you're entitled to celebrate yourself and expect those with oppressor's status to defer to your feelings. Shahidi has also organised free speech rallies and gun rights demonstrations with the group Resist Marxism, whose website says it tries to defend the Constitution against violent extremists and regressive left. Resist Marxists clashed with the city of Boston over permits for one of its last previous events, according to Boston.com. But it doesn't say what the event was, does it? So the organisers of the Strike Pride Parade alternatively plan to host the event on August the 31st, Shay wrote, and have filed a discrimination complaint against Boston for permission to fly their straight pride flag. The parade will include floats and vehicles, Shay wrote, and will run from Copley Square to City Hall, the same route as the official Pride Parade will take on Saturday. John Hetro, one of the Strike Parade organisers, told the Washington Post that the keynote speaker would be a very famous gay conservative. It's going to be Milo, isn't it? It's going to be frigging Milo, I betcha. Who him declined to name. The LBGT acronym throws also include queer, intersexual and asexual people. Hugo and his fellow organisers want to add an S for straight, he said. Oh, I love this, I really do. Criticising Manchester's efforts to support the gay community is unfairly labelled as hate, Hugo said, and the parade organisers feel they were an oppressed minority. We want to tolerate. We want to be tolerant for everybody, not just the LBGT community, Hugo said. Hugo's a Republican, sought to congressional seat in Manchester's 5th District last fall. He ran on a platform of eliminating the national debt, respective of law and order, confirming legal literate judges, and focusing on how we're all one race, the human race. A third organiser of the parade describes himself as a gay ambassador who challenges heterophobia. In a statement, Mayor Marty Walsh, who's a Democrat, declined to specifically address the straight pride parade, insisted he focus on the LGBT pride and encourage people to attend the official pride parade and advocate equality for all. So that means they should be able to have their gay pride, their straight pride, right? It's one for one, one for the other, right? Every year, Boston hosts its annual Pride Week, where our city comes together to celebrate the diversity and strength and acceptance of our LBGTQ, I noticed there's no S on that, community, Walsh said in a statement. This is a special week that represents Boston's values of love and inclusion, which were unwavering. The straight pride parade parallels similar calls by other majority groups that see themselves as persecuted, which they are, by the way. Some white voters who feel strong attached to their race have called on Congress to pass a law designating 1 month of the year as White History Month. Oh, this is identity politics at its finest, isn't it? On International Women's Day, online searches for International Men's Day spiked as some men wonder when they will get the day of their own. The answer, by the way, is November 19th of every year. Boston has a history of safe haven for the LGBT community. Massachusetts was the first state to legalize same-sex marriage in 2004. In May of that year, Boston area residents Matricia Karish, I might be mispronouncing, and Tanya McCoskey became the first same-sex couple in the United States to get married. The powerful advocacy group GLBTQ, Legal Advocates and Defenders, was formed in Boston and still is located there. News of the Strike Parade took off on social media, with hundreds of people cracking jokes about the event and calling it sad. Well, I don't know, I think it's kind of funny, to be honest. Linda Demaro, the president of the Boston Pride, which is the organizers, which is organizing this month's Pride Parade, said her group is focused on what she thinks will be the largest Boston Pride Parade ever. We know that the straight allies of the LGBT community are among the thousands of supporters who come out every year to march, observe, and celebrate, DeMario said in the statement to the Post. We're looking forward to seeing our straight friends, family, neighbors at the Boston Pride Parade and Festival this Saturday, along with members of the LGBT community. Justin Burdick, of the husband of 2020 Democrat president contender Peter Buttigieg, issued a statement on Twitter about the nuisances of identity-based politics. Why having a pride-style event for a dominant group like heterosexuals wasn't to be equal with something like gay pride? I don't get what he's saying here. Why having a pride-style event for a dominant group like heterosexuals wasn't to be equated with something like gay pride? I don't know. Questions you may want to ask yourself before organising an identity-based parade is it/was it ever legal for me to be jailed for my identity? Can I be denied housing, health services because of how I identity? Is it legal for me to be killed in other countries for how I identify? He wrote. Could I be kicked out of the military for how I identify? Has it ever been illegal for me to marry others of the same identity? Just to start. The fact of the matter is that while that may have been the case in some situations, for example, right, he's going on about the countries there. That's nothing to do with the US. If you have a problem with the way that certain religious extremist countries over in Middle East handle homosexual couples, that might be something that you might want to take to Twitter about. Just be prepared for the rest of the left to call you a racist. So I think that's irrelevant. As for you being kicked out of the army, I don't think you've ever been kicked out of the army because you were gay. You're certainly not now, anyway. It's only trans people that are. And there's a perfectly good reason for that. Jailed for your identity. I don't know anybody that's ever been jailed because they were gay. I don't know anyone in this day and age that's denied housing or health services because they are gay right now. In fact, we actually have laws to stop that. So, yeah. Representative Alexandria Cortez, because she has to put a name in on everything, weighed in a similar vein, tweeting, "Will Stripe Parade be Freaky Friday type solution where all our history books, movies, stories, media, news, and feature mostly LGBT plus people and perspectives? Why would we want to go through and have a Freaky Friday situation and we go through and have the LGBT plus community? This is supposed to be a straight pride, right? Why would we want to go through? Way in a similar vein, tweeted, "Will straight pride be a Freaky Friday type situation where all of our history books, movies, stories, media, news, and feature mostly LGBT people and perspectives?" Why would we want to have their perspectives? Why would the LGBT community want to be listening or having their perspective when it comes to a stripe parade? Like, it's why the hell would that ever want to be on there? Will people come out as straight? What will folks march in? Socks with sandals, dad jeans. Well, they can march in anything they want, can't they, sweetheart? Now for the comments. I haven't read these yet, so and these guys expect us to believe that they're straight. It's not working, fellas. I don't know. I think it's kind of funny. Go for it, right-wing nuts. Have the White History Month. Challenge all school curriculum. So obviously this is from the Washington Post, so it's going to be biased towards the left. Has Brad Pitt asserted to having his name associated with this group? Not necessary. It's called freedom of speech, even though Pitt surely despises the idea. I don't know if he does or not. When you say whatever you want, but you're not under circumstances to legally use his image without his consent. So there's a difference. Of course, Chesson is right. Straight people weren't legally associated oppressive ways. So it's all about, me being oppressed. And it's just basically a bunch of triggered snowflakes. If you thought Trump inauguration crowd was small, I don't know. I don't know. I can imagine a lot of people turning up just to troll people. Ignore them. Don't give them the oxygen for the point of view. This is funny and laughable until it isn't. I don't know. I still think it's funny and laughable. As straight white males, really that sense that they feel under attack? No, you don't get it, do you, sweetheart? It's or man or whatever you are. It's not the fact that the people are under attack. It's the fact that they're taking the piss out of the gay pride. That's basically what it is. That's hilarious. That parade, exactly. Since straight people have the privileged ones for millennials, it's about straight males, not the white people. Yeah, sorry, bro. I don't bet the money in the world these three dudes organising it are white. I don't think they are, actually. The couple of names there did not seem very, very white, but yeah. Like, there was no, Toms or, Richards or anything, was there? You already have Stripe Parade Month. It's called St. Patrick's Day. No, oh my god, you don't even know what St. Patrick's Day is about. Nothing could be more absurd than Stripe Parade for the White History Month. Organisers such events. So this is like, it's literally triggered snowflakes. And that's what the whole idea is, right? The whole idea of this thing was for them to go through and to literally mock the gay pride. That's what it's all about. It's them literally going through and saying, well, if you want to get identity politics, we're going to go through and we're going to do it ourselves. Like Rev says in chat, trolling makes it easy and fun. It does. Like, like when you run on identity politics, it's so easy just to mock you about this stuff. You want Black History Month? Fine. Where's our White History Month? God damn it, we were repressed. We were slaves in Egypt at some point, weren't we? There's got to be an argument somewhere along the line for slavery for the white folk. So, this is the problem with identity politics, and this is what they don't get. They run on this shit. They run on identity politics, and they don't realize it can be used against them. Well, I think this is hilarious. Like, guys, knock yourselves out. Like, Jesus Christ, if I was in Boston, I would go. Just to have a laugh and just to have a bit of a laugh at the gay pride. But like I say, who we know about the free speech rally in Boston? This is supposedly the rally that was denied. Brad Pitt's not the face of the strike parade. It puts organisers on notice. So Brad Pitt has obviously gone through and said that he's not the face of it. I'm a straight man by myself, and I find this first thing to say that the straight parade is completely unnecessary for a million reasons. Floats in the straight parade, but not included, lemon to a jar of mayonnaise, bowling ball, can of Bud Light. Oh, I like that idea. Can of Bud Light. That's a good one. Camo hat, Slim Jims, Mark Wahlberg. You can't enjoy yourself at a stripe parade. Men and women come together to reproduce, not for pleasure. No, actually humans do actually have sex for pleasure, actually. We're one of the few animals that actually do. How much of a fucking degenerate piece of beta scum bitch? Oh, holy shit! Do you have to support? Holy dooly, they really are triggered, aren't they? The stripe parade looks wild, and I can't lie. Look, they've even gone through and actually made it so that you have to hide, like, the image. Like, what the hell? If the straight pride parade doesn't have the entire float celebrating the one creative invention where yeah, lesbian porn. Hey guys, if you're in the parade, you're gay. No, I think it's actually quite the opposite. So it's just people just triggered the absolute shit out of this. And it's funny. It really, really is. Now, obviously, Brad Pitt has come out and said, puts organisers on notice, stop using me as the face of straight parade. Brad Pitt is no mascot, but especially not for the notorious upcoming Straight Pride Parade, and he's doing what he can to stop the idiocy. As you may have heard, a small group of straight men in Boston and an apparent retort to June being LBGT Pride Month have announced an upcoming parade to celebrate the diverse culture, history, and contributions of the straight community. Culturally, their website claims that this community has adopted Brad Pitt as a mascot and congratulated him for being the face of the important civil rights movement. Of course, this is total BS, and sources close to Brad Pitt tell TMZ the team has reached out to the Straight Pride organisers demanding they stop using his name and likeness for their event. If they don't do it soon, they're told future actions could be taken, to which I don't think you can actually do anything because it's freedom of speech, but anyway. As for the planned parade, the morons in charge, obviously TMZ has a bias here, says it will be one-day event sometime in August, and they are requesting the same route as the Boston Parade. Well, we actually know the date. It actually says it in here. Where is it? 31st of August. So, you know. But obviously they don't want to go mentioning it because they don't want to go giving it any sort of validity or so. The parade has unsurprisingly been met with scorn and a lot of shaking their damn heads. But here's what the Boston native and Captain America star Chris Evans thinks about it. Who cares? Who cares what Chris Evans thinks about it? Wow, cool initiative, fellas. Just thought of instead of straight pride, how about this? A desperately trying to blurry out gay thoughts of being homophobic. Because no one taught us how to access our emotions as children parade. What do you think? 2 on the nose. Yeah, Chris Evans has had a history of coming out and supporting the far left progressive ideology. But yeah, look, at the end of the day, the more they get wound up about this, the more they get upset, the funnier it just literally is. And that's the whole idea. And this is what they don't get. Is at the end of the day, it's just for going through and stirring people, right? It's just to stir people and just to poke fun of their identity politics. Like calls a straight pride, calls a stir. A lively discussion has kicked off on Twitter over the merits of straight people having their own pride event. A plan by a group of Bostons to hold a pride has more than 45,000 tweets in 24 hours. The group Super Happy Fun America has applied to the city government to hold their march. 31st of August, they don't want to say. These 3 men behind the event include John Hugo, which sounds like he might be a little bit of a Mexican descent there with Hugo. Was a Republican candidate for the Massachusetts 5th Congress District. So we actually might be able to find out a photo. What does John Hugo look like? Is he white? He might be. Straight pride. Parade. Images. So I've got a photo of a guy and maybe you might be able to say European, maybe. I don't want to put it on the screen because I don't want to dox him, although it is available to everybody if you Google search it, but I don't know. Anyway. On the organizers' website, Hugo's quoted saying, straight people have an oppression, blah, blah, blah. Let's just get to the good stuff. Every day is straight pride, as the regardless of the intent, heterosexual pride privilege comes across the country worldwide. Not understanding the member of the LGBT community have continually fought and sacrificed for what they take for granted. I don't know. I think that the white people have gone through and straight people have sacrificed and fought for what they take for granted. We want our own parade. God damn it. Me explaining to my boyfriend why we're going to straight pride. Let's see what this says.
The straight pride. What do you mean, what's straight pride? Babe, you need to get online. Basically, straight pride is where all the straight people are going to gather and celebrate being straight. It sounds so fun. I actually can't even fathom how fun this is going to be. Hurry, get your stuff. Get your swim trunks. I don't know, there might be a pool. I'm going to wear jeans and flats. What don't you get? It's basically straight people hanging out and having fun together. What do you mean that sounds impossible? I don't understand what's not computing. We have 364 days a year where we have unbelievable unspoken privilege, and then we have one day a year. One day where we get to celebrate having that privilege all year round. What doesn't make sense to you? I was born and I was like, okay, I feel different from absolutely nobody. And now I'm an adult and I still feel totally fine because the world is totally made for me. I'm at work and I'm straight and everyone's like, gotcha. And then I leave work and now I get to go somewhere and be straight and everyone's like, cool. And it just feels like finally, you know what I mean? Babe, I want to go so bad. Straight pride, I want to go straight. I deserve to go to straight pride. I have straight pride. I have straight pride. Kiss me. That's what the parade's about. It's about us being able to kiss like that in public. And I bet Walmart will have a float. Don't you want to wear sunglasses that say Walmart?
So obviously she's mocking them there. And at the end of the day, it's just, yeah. Ah! Shit, I closed it. God damn it, I closed the article, didn't I? We didn't get to read the rest of the comments. Where was it? There it is. I took off social media. No, I've lost it. I've lost the thing. Damn it. Apparently we do have an update on this though. Tommy Lavin criticizes Boston for not permitting straight pride. Also, apparently their flag was also dubbed a hate symbol as well. Like, yeah, like they're actually. This is the funny part about it. So they're going through and they're claiming that the straight guys have nothing to march for. The straight couples, the heterosexual couples, have no reason to have a straight pride. Yet they can't have a flag because apparently it's a hate symbol or something along those lines. Sounds like the city of Boston is refusing them to have their march. All of a sudden, it's seemingly like the heterosexual couple are actually repressed. Good one, Boston. You're literally you're actually giving them validity when it comes to them going through and trying to have this parade. You're actually giving it a reason now. Fox Nation host and national conservative Tom O'Leary said it's open season on straight white men as a group that struggles to get the Boston permit for straight pride parade. You can be proud of anything these days so long as it's not straight. White men or, God forbid, conservative. Lauren said Wednesday on her online show, First Thought. But as it turns out, the city of Boston may not be so tolerant of accepting of straight pride parade either. Boston's Straight Pride event allegedly aims to celebrate heterosexuality in a city that is said to have one of the largest LGBT communities in the nation. So, they are a minority in the city of Boston. Also, another reason why they need Straight Pride parade. One of the event's organisers wrote on Facebook that the parade is meant to poke fun at the identity politics. While straight pride may be intended to be as a joke of sorts, Lawrence said, why is it so taboo nowadays to reorganise a parade of health, sexuality or traditional values in general? I'm sick of this. So far, the parade, which has a tentative date of 31st of August, according to organisers, doesn't appear to have received a required city permit. So at the moment, they have not received their permit. When contacted Tuesday about the parade by the Hill, Boston Mayor Walsh said in a written statement that every year Boston hosts annual Pride Week with our city comes together to celebrate our community. Okay, that doesn't answer the question. This is a special week to represent Boston's values of love, inclusion, and unwavering, he wrote. But that doesn't talk about the heterosexual, does it? You literally gone through and talked about the LGBT Pride Month, not the straight pride. So why are you dodging the question by focusing it on the other one? Lauren took aim at the city, saying that straight people aren't allowed to parade to heterosexual for all to see. The very group that preaches tolerance, love and acceptance are anything but love and accepting in this era of 64 genders, designations, a female boy scouts, and pronoun enforcement. All things traditional or conservative are being hateful and deplorable, Lauren said. Enough with the crap. So at the end of the day, they do have a point. This is the thing, right? So obviously these guys have started this as a joke, as a way of laughing at identity politics. But this is the thing. As they reject their idea of turning up or having this parade, as the government suppresses this parade, the actual parade gets more and more validity. So, for example, if I was the Boston mayor government, I would let them have their parade. By actually blocking the parade, you're giving it a reason to exist. You know, people sit there and go, oh, why are they so repressed? Well, it's quite simple, because they can't even get a permit to organise this parade. The flag, let me have a look at this. Flag for straight pride parade. I think it was designated a hate symbol. I had something about it. Can't seem to find anything about the parade, about the flag. It's funny, none of the news is covering the fact that the flag is being banned. No one's reporting on it. Pretty sure I heard somewhere. So I know it's been pulled from Amazon. I can find that article. I'll put that on the screen for you guys. So, straight pride flag pulled from Amazon after online mocking. Straight pride flag pin has been pulled from Amazon after it was widely mocked online. The pin was being sold via the online shop giant of the UK for £4.50 In a contrast to the brightly coloured rainbow flags, features several tones of brown and beige. It was mocked on social, with media LGBT critiquing both the design and the lack of needed to flag to exist. So, you know, that happened. I can't see anywhere where people are writing about the flag being banned. Let me just do a quick check on Twitter. So we have a copy of the actual flag and what they want it to look like. Copy image address. This is reportedly the image. There it is there. People are also claiming it could be a black and white flag as well, with a similar sort of symbols. Yeah, I don't know. I'd have to have a look for it. I can't find the article. I remember reading somewhere where they were saying that it's actually been banned. So yeah. Let me just do... So here's another article saying they don't have a permit. That. So Straight Pride Parade does not have a permit, Boston City officials say. Officials in Boston say the group behind the Straight Pride has not actually been granted permission to hold the event, which was heavily mocked on Twitter. The group of 3 men who are the blah, 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 blah. Super Happy Fun America is led by John Hugo, who ran for Congress. It's been tentatively planned for the 31st of August and published to Root. But at the moment, they still have not got... They still have not got a approval. No city approval. The city of Boston later clarified the group has been in contact with them. However, the city has said the Super Happy Fun America parade permit has not actually been approved. Declined to specifically address the proposal when questioned by several media outlets. Insisted he encouraged people to attend the LGBTQ parade and fight for equality. Fight for equality, but you can't have your own parade. That really does seem to be in contradiction to those 2 sentences, doesn't it? But I don't know, guys. That's where I'm going to basically leave this story for now. Let me know what your thoughts are in the comment section below. What are your thoughts on them actually going through and actually having this parade? Do you think it's a good thing? Do you think it's a bad thing? Do you like the idea? Personally, I support it. I think it's a good thing. And at the end of the day, look, good on the guys for organising it, and hopefully it goes off without a hitch. But let me know what your thoughts are in that comment section below. Alright. So we're going to talk about this, guys. Docs Citizen launches legal fund to sue the Daily Beast as Facebook as benefactors began to rally. Facebook as benefactors begins to rally. Sorry. Big League Politics can confirm the benefactors are seeking to help Brooks sue the Daily Beast, CNN, and Facebook. Big League Politics can confirm that several wealthy benefactors are attempting to contact Shaw Brooks, the user who uploaded the viral Nancy Pelosi meme, in which she appears even less coherent than usual, to help him sue the Daily Beast, CNN, Facebook, and others involved in his recent doxing, as he announces his legal defense fund on GoFundMe. I will put a link in the description below. Brooks was doxed by the Daily Beast writer and former Black Hat hacker Kevin Paulson after he uploaded the viral clip of House Speaker Nancy Pelosi appearing to stammer and slur her words more than usual. Paulson apparently colluded with Facebook to dox Brooks, a story that was picked up and repeated by CNN, which we had actually reported on already. Reports initially indicate Paulson also created the viral meme, but Brooks denies this. Brooks also denied that his user was posted the video on his Facebook pages, although Paulson, quoting Facebook, claims Brooks used a sock puppet account to post it. Now, that's going to be the question is, and that's what they're going to ask in court. If it's a sock puppet account, how do you know it was him that was posting it? If you're so sure it was him, right, the only way you can really confirm that is by going through and getting Facebook to give you the information. That's the best way to confirm if it's a sock puppet account. Obviously, for anyone that doesn't know, sock puppet is obviously just where they go through and they make a fake account and they post stuff from that so they protect their real identity. So, yeah. Reports initially indicate Paulson also created the viral meme, but Brooks denies this. Brooks also denied that he is the user who posted the video to his Facebook page. Sorry, I've already read that, sorry. The rumor was that wealthy benefactors who significant experience in legal matters regarding the mainstream media and social media were seeking to help Brooks sue early this morning. Now, Big League Politics can report that one such benefactor has independently contacted our senior reporter, Peter Dobrisky, and confirmed that they are actively attempting to contact Brooks to provide financial and legal support. This comes as Brooks announced his own legal defense fund via GoFundMe, written in the fund's description. I will put a link in the description below. And we'll talk about that in a sec. Opinion for possible legal action against anyone who's associated with publishing that inaccurate trash article about me, misquoting me, and accusing me being of the creator of the Speaker Nancy Pelosi that went viral. Brooks is already making progress towards his goal of $10,000 to sue the Daily Beast and other press times, with donations ranging from $5 to $200. Last night, Big League Politics revealed that Paulson's history is perhaps more colourful than Brooks, the African-American who has worked as a series of manual labour jobs and became the ardent supporter of President Trump after witnessing the destruction of the United States economy under the guidance of President Barack Obama. Paulson is a former Black Hat hacker who was convicted of several crimes, stood accused of hacking into the US Army and FBI systems, and attempting to steal critical intelligence. He served 5 years in prison and another several on probation. Paulson was the first person to be banned from accessing the internet as punishment for cybercrimes. He was only allowed access after pursuing his parole officer in 2004. Facebook has thus far Facebook has thus far refused to provide comment to Big League Politics regarding this particular help Paulson docs Brooks or any possible in litigation. At the end of the day, I would say that the fact is that someone on Facebook did. I would say someone on Facebook did give the information to obviously go through and to docs. That would be the easiest way I would know to do it. So here's his legal fund here. It's already received $10,000, over $10,000. It's trending the campaign. It's already on its way towards $20,000, which is more than he actually wanted originally. So he wanted $10,000 to sue. It's already at 11. And I will obviously put a link in the description below and in chat. So if anybody obviously wants to go through and donate, then obviously you can. Unacceptable must be unacceptable. Tear them down. Videos a full-time job for Democrats. It's collaborated. Go get them. They, Google, Facebook, are targeting anyone who doesn't agree with their views. It's basically, it's a lot of people supporting him. So, good luck to him. I hope he does well. I hope he tears him a new one in court. And I hope we find out exactly what happened in regards to Facebook. Look, at the end of the day, if someone is in Facebook and they're going through and helping dox people, that's a serious problem. People need to know about it. So I fully support this. Yeah, like I say, hopefully he does a good job. Hopefully he does well. And hopefully he tears them apart. And yeah, I don't know. Guys, let me know your thoughts are in the comment section below. What are your thoughts on this? Do you think it's a good thing? Do you think it's a bad thing? Do you think he has a case? Do you think that this is going to win? Let me know what your thoughts are in the comment section below. And yeah, good luck to him, I suppose. But let us know what your thoughts are. Alright. Doctors told me to have an abortion 10 times, but I gave birth to a healthy baby girl. Oh boy. I feel sorry for the doctor and for the mother in the situation, but we'll jump into it. No, I'm not going to record this one. I'll just leave it as a part of the stream. The mum, who was offered 10 abortions by doctors right up until her due date, was given birth to a healthy baby girl. The doctors repeatedly warned the first-time mama, Natalie Hosen, her unborn baby would have poor quality of life after the 22-week scan showed the tot had spina bifida. The condition, which affects 1,500 pregnancies every year, meant to be the spinal cord and spine haven't developed properly in the womb. It can cause paralysis of the legs, bowel or urinary incontinence, and even brain damage. But Natalie from Massachusetts decided to trust her gut instinct and go ahead with the pregnancy, welcoming a 7-pound 6-ounce Mirabelle at Liverpool Hospital on December the 12th. The 29-year-old told Fabulous Digital, "I found out as much as I could and realized that there were options. I refused to give up on my baby, but the medics just wouldn't take no for an answer. They were so insistent even after I repeatedly said no, but I was getting offered a termination just weeks before she was born. That really upset me." She was a poor little girl at that point, a poor little person at that point. It was vital to think that they just wanted me to get rid of her. I was offered an abortion at every appointment I had up until the day she was born. About 10 times in all. But I'm so glad I refused. Mirabelle is a miracle. So, doctors at St. Mary's Hospital in Massachusetts suspected Natalie's daughter had spina bifida by the 22-week scan, but told her to return for a specialist scan a week later. Natalie, who works in hospital herself, an assistant radiographer, was feeling horribly anxious and rang up the ward demanding answers. She said that when they told me that the baby had spina bifida, I had no idea why they couldn't have communicated that with the appointment. It caused me awful anxiety, wondering what they might be wrong. I broke down. I was a mess. I couldn't stop crying. They made out it was like an abortion was my only option, and they explained that if I went ahead with the pregnancy, my baby would be in a wheelchair bound and have no quality of life. That was obviously incorrect. When I got off the phone and I went and did tons of research and found out that there were options for my little girl, I finally felt really angry that they had made out that I had none. If I had not done the time to do my research, I might have even agreed to the termination. I look at Marable now and I wouldn't even known you and I wouldn't even have known you. It doesn't bear thinking about. So I get really concerned when the doctors and whatnot are just pushing this pro-abortion agenda. It really is kind of disgusting. It really is. But look, at the end of the day, I get the doctors' views on this. I wonder why. I wonder why they wanted abortion so much. You know, why couldn't they just turn around and say to the mother, this is an option, but here's the other options? Why did she have to go and do the research herself to find out there were other options available? And you look at this baby now, and yeah, it's got a scar on its back. You can see up here. It's got a scar, but apparently it looks perfectly healthy. It's not in a wheelchair. It seems to have quality of life. We'll obviously have to see how it keeps going, but as long as the baby is perfectly fine, who cares? Why the concern to get it aborted? Why are they in such a rush to do that? That's what bugs me the most. Delvage useless eaters. Yeah, well, hey Amtrak, how are you, buddy? Look, at the end of the day, to me, I don't know. There's a theory going around that stem cells are hugely, widely demanded. Maybe that's why they want the abortion so much, so they can go through and do stem cell research. I don't know, but yeah. All right. We have an update on Jussie Smollett. So guys, we have a bit of an update on Jussie Smollett here. We actually have received the 911 call from Jussie Smollett. Hoax attack released. They put a noose around his neck. So it's been a while since we talked about this. Let's jump into this. Disgraced actor Jussie Smollett manager was hesitant to identify him to the 911 police call made after the hoax attack occurred, according to an audio obtained by the New York Post. We do have that call, the audio. We will play that for you in a sec. The former Empire star originally claimed that he had been ambushed by two masked Trump supporters. Jussie Smollett said they shouted, "This is mega country," and claimed that his assaulters poured a bleach-like substance over him. Eventually, two Nigerian brothers who knew Smollett, I'm getting those names wrong, stepped forward and claimed Smollett instructed them to stage the attack, which I do believe is their thing. Audio released of the night from the January 29th hoax features two separate phone calls made by Smollett's manager, Frank Grasson, in the first call, made 20 minutes after the incident. Grasson spoke in generalizations and hesitations to reveal Smollett's identity. "I just need the police to come by. I work with an artist. I don't really want to say his name, but he states that, redacted, he went to Subway where he was walking by and some guys jumped him or something like that. I just want to report it and make sure that he's alright," Grasson said, according to the New York report. We do actually have that audio. We'll play that for you guys now, so you can actually
January 29, 2019, 2 hours, 22 minutes, and 48 seconds.
Chicago Emergency, Williams.
Yes, I'm at Hello?
Okay.
Yeah,
what's going on?
I just need the police to come by. I work with an artist. I don't really want to say his name, but he stays here. He went to Subway. He was walking by, and some guys, I don't know, they jumped him or something like that. And I just want to report it and make sure he's all right.
Okay, so we just checking the well-being. Okay, so
Yeah.
is this upper or lower?
Huh?
Okay.
I'm in. I'm waiting in the lobby. I'm going to go back up to the apartment.
Okay, so you're going back to the apartment, so you're just going to leave him there?
Yeah, I came down because I didn't realize the address. I didn't realize the address, and, he was cool. He didn't want me to call you guys, but I feel like he needs to make a report.
Okay, so you can't make the report for him. Did he want to make a report?
No, that's why I'm doing it. He's definitely going to make the report. I'm going to make him make the report. Thanks, Coach.
Okay.
Hello?
Yes, it is.
This is right, sir? Right behind the Lowe's Hotel on the side.
Okay. All right, and what unit is the police coming for?
Sir.
Okay, so that's the apartment.
Yes. And the front desk guy here is sitting here.
And what is your name, sir?
My name is...
Does your friend need an ambulance?
I just think he's startled. What's really weird, ma'am, just because I'm scared, I don't know what it is. They put a noose around his neck. They didn't do anything with it, put it around his neck. That's really fucked up to me. Sorry for saying it like that. Hello?
Okay, and what is your phone number, just in case the police need to call you? Okay, and this is a well-known person?
Yes, it is.
All right, watch for the police.
Sorry?
I said watch for the police.
All right, so I'm going to go back up to the apartment. Okay?
Right,
Okay.
that's okay. I'll tell the
All right.
police. Okay?
Okay, thank you.
All
Thank
right,
you so
sir.
much, okay?
All right, good luck,
Okay,
you
bye.
guys. Bye-bye.
Okay. Bye.
So there, you can see in the recording, in the audio, he says they put a noose around his neck. He also says that he's making Jussie Smollett report what happened. They said, that you can't make the report for him, and he's like, oh no, I'm going to make sure he does it. This is absolutely disgusting. I get the feeling the manager mightn't be in on this. I think this is something that Jussie has cooked up with these brothers himself, and I think the manager has gone through and has pushed it. And Jussie, whatever, I think he was backed into a corner where he's like, oh crap, my manager's already called the cops. They're on their way. If I don't report this, people are going to wonder why I'm not reporting it. I'm going to have to report it now. And I don't think that was part of the plan. I don't know. Maybe he was going to go through and just claim on social media that it happened and put a photo up or something like that and sort of get sympathy that way or something. Yeah, I really don't think the manager was in on it. I really think that the manager was sort of conned as well as the rest of us. Well, most of us anyway. I wasn't, but anyway. But Garrison told the dispatcher that Smollett was just startled, adding that the attackers put a noose around Smollett's neck and left it there. I just think he's startled. I'm scared. I don't know what it is. They put a noose around his neck, Garrison said. I didn't do anything with it, but put it around his neck. That's pretty effed up to me. Sorry for saying that like it is. When asked why Smollett didn't report the allegations himself, Jonah replied, he was cool. He didn't want me to call you guys, which tends to make me think that at the end of the day, like I said, it was more of a fact of Smollett wanting to file didn't want the reports filed. The dispatcher told Gollett that he couldn't file a report on Smollett's behalf, but Goris promised that Smollett would file a report. He's definitely going to make the report. I'm going to make him make the report, Gosson said. Gosson made a second phone call at 2:38 a.m., approximately 16 minutes after the first call. I reported, I've been waiting on the police. He said, I thought they'll be here by now. Police pulled up right after the second phone call. Jussie Smollett was ultimately arrested for filing a false police report, but the charges were shockingly dropped by the Cook County State's Attorney, Kim Fox, in March. Chicago is suing Smollett for $130,000 to cover the cost of the resources used to crack down on his fake hate crime hoax. Additionally, Lee Daniels, the co-creator of Empire, said Smollett will not return to the Fox show. So he's lost his deal. So he's lost his movies. Yeah, he seems, yeah, exactly. I think he was sort of taken in, and I think he was conned by it. So at the end of the day, I don't think he was in on the deal, in on the plan. I think this is something that Jussie Smollett has gone through and maybe arranged himself. And at the end of the day, this is something that, like I said, I don't think the manager is in on it. But look, obviously the details are starting to come out. And, at the end of the day, we will eventually find out what happened. But this is not good for Jussie. This is really not good for him. He's lost his TV show, which reportedly he was the opposite of what he was trying to achieve. And at the end of the day, not only that, but now he's been branded as someone who has literally gone through and made false reports, made a false report. So this is going to follow him for a while. This is really going to follow him for a while. He has really screwed up his career trying to make some extra dosh on the side. And that's what it was all about, reportedly. It was about money. But guys, let me know what your thoughts are in the comment section below. But yeah, I really do think that the manager in this was conned. I don't think it was something that he was planning. I don't think Jussie planned for the manager to call the police. Maybe he knew that if he reported it to the police, that'd be a crime. Maybe he knew that if he just put it on social media, there wouldn't be such a criminal thing about it. But then since then, I suppose he's had to double down, triple down on it. But let me know what your thoughts are in that comment section below. Alright. ISIS plotted to send Westerners to the US through Mexico border. Should probably record this, shouldn't we? Let's do it. ISIS plotted to send Westerners to the US through Mexico border, reported. So, a chilling confession from a captured ISIS fighter has shed light on how the terrorist group intended to exploit the vulnerability of the US border with Mexico, using English-speaking and Westerners to take advantage of smuggling routes and target financial institutions. Seized ISIS fighter Abek Kabiri, a Canadian citizen with dual citizenship with Trinidad, last month, said that he was sought out by violent insurgents leadership to attack the US from a route starting at Central America, according to a study by the International Center for Study of Violent Extremism and published in Homeland Security Today. ISIS organizers have ISIS has organized plots to Europe with returnees so that it's seemingly entirely plausible that they wanted to send guys out to attack. The issue to make a North America attack harder is the travel is more difficult from Syria. Who co-conducted the study is a direct of Ethe and a Jessup prosecutor. So the idea that is would instead use people who were not known to their governments as having joined ISIS might make it possible for them to board aeroplanes. Hendrik allegedly traveled to Syria with intention of serving as an ISIS fighter, but was later told that he could not take on a soldier's duty due to chronic illness. At the end of 2016, he claimed to have been invited by ISIS intelligence wing known as the Imani to join other Tiradans as launch financial attacks on the US. The attacks were described to Hendrik as designed to cripple the US economy and was said to have been informed that it would have issued false identification passports that would maneuvered from Puerto Rico to Mexico and then to the United States. The plan came from someone from the New Jersey state of America who was going to take the boat from Puerto Rico into Mexico. He was going to smuggle me in, the ISIS cutter continued. He further elaborated that he believed the scheme was aimed at the New York financial targets. They wanted to use the people to attack inside the US because they were from these areas, Hendrik told the scholars, indicating that they were either from North America or English speaking. He underscored that other Trinidadians whom have been killed in the protected mayhem over the past several years were also approached to do the same thing. However, Hendrik then claimed he refused the mission and was subsequently thrown into an ISIS prison in Maribor and brutally tortured. His wife, also Canadian, was also imprisoned in the women's department and endured psychological torture. The plot is likely dead. As those who were pursued to join it, acquiring to Abu Harik, are now dead and ISIS in retreat, as we know. So spit. But it doesn't mean that we shouldn't disregard the plot, and they should take thoughtful steps to prevent it. We often hear about terrorists trying to enter the southern border in political debate, but I rarely have come across a real case. It surprises me to hear that this was real plot by ISIS to exploit our southern border. That's concerning, of course. Hendrik surrendered to the US-backed Syrian Democratic Forces, SDF, in the final assault to take back Bulgars earlier this year. He remains behind bars in the SDF-controlled region of Syria, with their futures in legal limbo, as many foreign governments are not willing to take back accused ISIS operatives. A representative from Canada's Global Affairs was not immediately able to respond to requests for comment. Yeah, Tinder. Yeah, I mispronounced it. Look, I do think this is a credible idea. I think the ISIS, they're not stupid, okay? Look, at the end of the day, I think what they've done is they've gone through, they've watched a lot of US TV news propaganda, and they've realized that the US border is weak. So their plan is to go through and to basically go through and use this exploit so they can get people back into the US to then carry out their attacks. It also does make you wonder too, all these people that are trying to seek asylum. Why are we letting them back in? When they're literally trying to get ISIS fighters back into the country. Some of the Australian government, for example, are going through and saying, oh boy, let's let them back in. You know, they've had a sudden change of heart. Well, have they really? Surprising they would exploit refugee services. They're so dumb or playing dumb. Surprised they would exploit refugee services. I'm really not, Amtrak, to be honest. I'm really not surprised that they would. I fully expected them to do this, to be honest. I think the refugee services, I think they're dumb. But if you watch Lauren Southern's documentary, Borderless, it actually talks about the fact that there's one guy in there who's in one of the camps who actually says that he gets attacked by ISIS fighters who are literally flowing into Europe right now. See if I can find... I don't know what my chances are of finding this, but... let's see... You know, it's weird. You type in Borderless and you don't see it. You have to type in Lauren Southern. Here it is. Right, so...
For Iceland?
This makes problems, you know, and at the night maybe some people come kill you while you are sleeping.
Has that happened before?
Yes, it happened. You know, many people killed and hit it while they are sleeping.
I think I might have found it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You wish you stayed in Iraq?
I wish it stayed in Iraq.
Do you wish you stayed home?
Yeah, why not?
Did it cost you a lot to come here?
1,200 euro.
1,200 euro to come.
So,
And if you are, do other atheists or Christians get attacked in the
مو بس
camp?
مو بس الأثيست حتى المسيح.
also Christian.
where's all the... Have they put this video on limited state?
In 2017, Germany accepted the most out of any other country in Europe, that being
no,
261,000 asylum applications, not including those who illegally entered. Now, many of these people came through Lesbos.
Camera. Wait, if you need, if you want to protect people, put a camera at least.
Here it is, here I think.
You have problem. You have cancer. You have something bad. You have dangerous illness, like a cancer, like something like that. You have a problem in kidney. You have problem in heart, like that.
And then you have to move to Athens.
Yeah, we must be moved to Ethe.
As troubling as a potential bribes for passage scandal is, what we heard next was deeply concerning.
When he got a fight, he got stabbed in his back.
won't kill me.
This is the guy here. This is the guy that's getting into fight with ISIS in migrant camps in Europe. They're actually in Europe at this stage. They're over near Greece.
هاي يسموها 111 قلنا 100 ثلاث شفرات يطبقوها سوي ضربة هنا براسي.
Fight every camera problem. We must put a camera. Wait, if you want to protect people, put a camera at least.
big problem here, no give me medicine.
To distinguish the criminal.
I want to speak just you.
Distinguish the criminal.
How do you know it's ISIS?
You can come to me and my tent. If you want.
How do you know it's ISIS?
Maybe 1,000, 2,000.
ISIS. You mean ISIS?
We will come to your tent and you can tell us. You said you know ISIS is operating in this camp.
يقول لك بدي يشتغلون هنا
الموجودين هنا طالبين لجوء يعني جاي هنا يطلب لجوء حالة كائلة.
asking for refugee.
Why?
They are here.
لأن مهزوم من سوريا.
Because they are defeated in their countries.
So they are looking for refugees.
They're looking for a safe place. They are here. They can raid, they can kill, they can steal. And they have monster face.
كلهم مسلحين عندهم سكاكين.
They have knives.
And they are causing violence
they
in the camp?
have something bad, weapon. Not weapon like a knife, something like razors.
كل مشكلة إنه نحاول نبلغ البوليس. أنا قبل فترة ضربوني سكينة براسي ما سكين فيها.
Before a time
البوليس بلغتهم يقول لي قوم.
He got hit in his head.
يقول لي قوم البوليس.
He said, police tell him go ملاك. Go bitch. They do not care about our life. Okay?
And they don't care that there are radicals in this camp.
Radicals, yeah. We told them to put a camera. We told them many times to put a camera at least to protect ourselves. Okay, we thank them. Okay, but we need a protection at least. Protection. We appreciate what they do. Food, okay, they are providing food, but we need the very important thing is the protection. Protection. And drugs everywhere. This is dangerous. This is a virus. Must be defeated.
There are, you say, something like 11,000 people here. How many would you say are ISIS or criminals?
Many of them. His life is not safe here.
That he just said that out of 11,000, over 1,000 of them, or 1,000 of them, are ISIS fighters or criminals. Literally 10%. That's what's flowing into Europe right now. So I'm not surprised that they would be talking about doing the same thing to the US through the Mexico border. His witness testimony, mind you, witness testimony of people turning around saying ISIS is literally in our camps. ISIS is not only in our camps, but they're attacking us. Radical Islam, claiming to be refugees flowing into Europe. And this is what the mainstream media does not want you to know. They do not want you to know this, because at the end of the day, that's a problem. Radical Islam flowing into Europe is going to cause problems later down the track. What are you going to do? Go through and find every one of them? Good luck. What do you have to do? The only way you'd be able to do it is do a Muslim census. And then find out how many of them are radicals. But instead, the governments don't care. Because at the end of the day, the governments don't care because they can bring in a police state. If you have civil unrest in your country caused by radical Islam, for example, you can bring in all sorts of laws. Bring in laws to squash rebellions, shut down freedom of speech, get rid of guns, knives. Everybody lives in an authoritarian state. 1984, here we come. All because the governments, NGOs and whatnot are bringing radicals into the country. It's a great con. It really is. You go through, you make a problem by bringing in this radical element, smuggle them in with the rest of the refugee, and then when they start causing problems, we're going to have to clamp down on security because we want to make sure everybody's safe. It's the biggest con ever. And all these leftist idiots have gone through and are buying it. Hook, line and sinker.
الحكومة اليونانية ولو أدري الحكومة اليونانية هي تساعد على الإرهاب وهي تمول الإرهاب داخل الموارد.
How do you stay safe?
We are got to protect us.
Hope you would cross your fingers.
Got to protect us. We do not scare from anyone. If the government put a camera everywhere, they will discover everything. They will find out everything. Just a camera.
معنيين يقدرون يساعدونا احنا مو كلمة الصحافة نحكي فيديو ما راح يطلع ما راح يظهر.
Many of you came here, didn't send the message completely.
حياتي معرضة للخطر من دخلت نشر الواحد اليوم انه انا حياتي.
But yeah, guys, if you haven't checked out Borderless, please do. It's a really, really good film. And Lauren Southern has done a really good job in exposing that situation. So yeah, I'm not surprised that that ISIS is using the US border. I'm not surprised at all, to be honest. But no, let me know what your thoughts are in the comment section below. Alright, so let's jump on to the next story. We're going to knock a few of these out pretty fast now, guys, because I'm sort of running a little bit behind. We've got one more story, which is the major one, which is more like laughing and trolling sort of thing, but let's jump into it. Alright, swarm of ladybugs so large it registers on the National Weather Service radar in California. A swarm of ladybugs has moved through San Diego country and was so large it registered on the National Weather Service NWS weather radar Tuesday night. CBS Los Angeles reports. The NWS office in San Diego tweeted out a video of the radar that looked like to be shown a precipitation, but it was in fact called what they call a ladybug bloom. The large echoing showing up on the SoCal radar this evening is not precipitation, but actually a cloud of ladybugs teamed a bloom, the tweet read. NWS meteorologist Michael Miller told local news radio station KNX-AM the 80-mile long and 80-mile wide blob was heading towards San Diego country from the San Cambian Mountains. Ladybugs are reportedly flying between 5,000 and 9,000 feet high, according to Los Angeles Times. No reports on whether they had landing clearance from the towers. Jokes aside. But yeah, look, at the end of the day, a little fun, little happy story. Go ladybugs, I suppose. But yeah, you can see it on the map here. There it is there. It's quite a large little blob. A lot of ladybugs, that's for sure. But yeah, Let me know what your thoughts are in the comment section below. West Point candidate sentenced to 21 years in prison for raping a female classmate. Now he's free to return to school. In July 2016, US military candidate Jacob Wusnut was sentenced to 21 years in prison and discharged from the army after being found guilty of raping a female classmate as she slept in a nearby sleeping bag during cadet field training camp at Buccaneer. Wusnut's defense was that that what transpired between him and the female candidate was consensual, but after a 4-day trial, the jury of West Point facility and staff found him guilty on 3 counts of sexual assault. I don't know why he's got 3 counts there, but anyway. Now an appeals court thrown out Wusnut's conviction, vacating his sentence, and on Wednesday the cadet returns to his class at West Point, according to Associated Press. The 3 male military judges who overturned Wusnut's conviction ruled that circumstances evidence backed up... Oh, okay. This is a face... Wow. CBS, way to make a wrong headline. I'm going to have to change the headline on this video when I upload it. Alright, let's try this again. West Point candidate was sentenced to 21 years in prison for raping a female classmate. Now he's free to return to school. The headline is misleading, guys. It really, really is. Let's jump into the story and we'll let you know exactly what happened. On July 2016, a U.S. military cadet, Jacob Wusnut, was sentenced to 21 years in prison and discharged from the army after being found guilty of raping a female classmate as she slept in a nearby sleeping bag during cadet field training camp at Camp Buccaneer. Wusnut's defense was that what transpired between him and the female candidate was consensual. But after a 4-day trial of jury of West Point facility and staff found him guilty on 3 counts of sexual assault. So he's claiming it was regret rape, I think they call it. Where the girl later afterwards turns around and feels that she changed her mind after the fact, whatever it may be. Now, an appeals court has thrown out Wusnut's conviction. Okay, interesting. Vacating his sentence, and on Wednesday, the cadet returned to his class at West Point, according to the Associated Press. 3 male appellate military judges who overturned Wusnut's conviction ruled the circumstances evidenced backed up by Wusnut's defense that he act was consensual, based on the fact that the woman, identified as the initials LM, did not struggle loudly enough to alert other candidates who were sleeping nearby. According to the Times, the female candidate testifies that she froze when she woke up to discover Wusnut assaulting her, and remained in the fetal position for the duration of the intercourse. But the judges didn't seem to find that plausible. It is even harder to conclude beyond a reasonable doubt that an appellate would anticipate that LM would not make any reflective noise or movements upon being awakened, which would have alerted multiple others to this criminal activity, thus ruling reads. This is particularly true when there is no evidence that appellate threatened LM or took any steps such as the covering her mouth to prevent an outcry. In their ruling Monday, the judges also cited the fact that the female candidate could easily identify Wusnut as a classmate and the fact that he did not attempt to clean up the semen left behind her in her sleeping bag as reasons to believe that must have been consensual. Wusnut, who would have needed to anticipate that LM would have not reported his crime at a later date when the record is devoid of any evidence that LM could not identify him, she was incapacitated or that had threatened or coerced her, the judges wrote. 4 more appellate left his semen on LM's beverly cover, and that there's no evidence he tried to remove this evidence. The former Air Chief Prosecutor, retired Colonel Don Christensen, told CBS News that the ruling sends a horrible message. Their option is victim blaming, he said. It reads out from the decades ago that the 2 babes two bases for overturning the conviction. One was the victim didn't act the way that wanted, or that the act of the accused surely wouldn't rape someone that he knew. Which shows that the three judges haven't a clue when it comes to sexual assault like. I know I'm going to get in trouble for saying this, but I'm going to say it anyway. At the end of the day, I agree with the three judges. So, if I was a female, right? Especially in the military, right? So these are people that are trained to act under pressure. Yeah. These are guys that are going through and who are, for example, trained to act under pressure. They're trained to act in high pressure situations, right? If I was a female, and I've been in the military of sorts, I don't want to go into details, but yeah, and I have a high military family background. I've said that in the past. But at the end of the day, if I was a female and I was waking up to someone raping me in my sleeping bag, I would scream. I would make a struggle. I would stop. I would say stop. I would say something. Not only that, but at the end of the day, if I was that guy, if I was that way inclined, I would want to make sure there was no evidence left behind. So, yeah, look, a question I have to ask is, was she flirty with him before this? Did she send mixed signals? I don't know. This seems very, very weird to me that he would be charged with this. And I'm like, well, at the end of the day, if there's people literally sleeping by her. What? She didn't say anything? I'm sorry. I'm not going to just hashtag believe all women. And I'm sorry, as comes from a guy, I'm sure as shit not going to go taking this regret sex as a defense. You know how many, it's insane now. I'm single, right, again. And I tell you, it's insane, the legal minefield that is out there. If you flirt with a girl at work and she takes it the wrong way, fired. If you hook up with a girl, completely consensual, and then the next day she changes her mind, unless you've got video proof of you pounding her into the mattress, then they're not going to believe you. Not saying I have a secret recording device in my room in case of situations like this happening, but I would strongly suggest everybody to do that. Yeah, I reckon the appeals judge got it right too. I really, really do. This, to me, seems like it's a case of the girl who woke up getting a bit of the you-know-what, thought, okay, let's go this baby, whatever it may be, and then later thought, oh shit, I don't want to come across as a slut. I don't want someone to think of me as promiscuous. I'm getting that word wrong. So I'm going to claim that it was not right, that it was regret. I'm going to make a false claim and try and ruin this guy's life, because at the end of the day, I don't want to get branded a slut. Is basically it. That's what it comes across as to me. So, yeah, I think the appeals judge got it right. And yeah. And like I said, you can arrest women by looking at them on the train. That's true, yeah. Yeah, you can now. Mansplaining is harassment. Try and work that one out. I'm sorry, girls, but if you got two large balls sticking between your legs, you don't want to go squishing them. Yeah, according to the Victorian government, that's true too. But at the end of the day, yeah, I reckon these appeal judges got it right. I reckon this is more a case of regret sex. Someone may have heard about it. Someone may have seen her getting it. She might have, the other day, the next day, he might have bragged to his mates, oh, I did LM in the sleeping bag last night. You know, people start talking, you know, and looking at her as if she might be a little bit of a hoe bag. You know, all of a sudden, oh shit, you know, no, it was rape, I didn't consent. No, it was rape, you know, that sort of shit. To me, this is more of regret sex. This is all this is. So, yeah, I don't know. I don't believe the fact that a person in the military who is trained to be in a high-impact situation or in a high-stress environment would have frozen and curled up in a fetal decision, let alone the fact that he wouldn't have cleaned up the evidence afterwards. Or that she didn't say anything or anything like that. To me, this is more regret sex. But, guys, let me know what your thoughts are in the comment section below. What are your thoughts on this? Do you think this is regret? Do you think this is rape? Do you think the appeals judge got it right? Or do you think they got it right first time round? And let me know what your thoughts are and why in the comment section below. Alright, so we're going to smash through a few of these others now because we're like way behind. Donald Trump commemorates the 75th anniversary of D-Day. Donald Trump commemorates the 75th anniversary of D-Day and delivers the following speech in honor of those thousands who sacrificed their life for liberty. It is quite long, and we are way behind on time, so I would have loved to sit here and read it out, but yeah. Trump insists Mueller and Nancy Pelosi, insults Mueller and Nancy Pelosi at the military cemetery in France. Just before his speech honoring the military vets at ceremony commemorating the 75th anniversary in D-Day, speaking to Fox News' Laura Ingraham, Trump called the former special counsel a fool and House Nancy Pelosi a disaster. So it wasn't at the service, was it? Mainstream media. Okay, it was before the service. Fake news. Nancy Pelosi told them she wants to see Trump in prison. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi told senior Democrats on Tuesday that she ultimately wants to see President Trump in prison, according to a report. That's okay, we want to see Hillary Clinton in prison. Although, I think we've got a better chance of her being in prison than him. Rob Rayner demands Nancy Pelosi impeach and imprison Trump. Far-left director Rob Rayner accused Democrat Speaker of Nancy Pelosi of posturing a false choice with regards to opening impeachment proceedings against President Donald Trump. So, yeah, good luck on that, I suppose, Democrats. Drag Queen story hour continues. Say again. Drag Queen story hour continues its reign at libraries despite backlash. Should probably record this one, shouldn't I? Alright, let's do it very quickly. Drag Queen story hour continues its reign at libraries despite backlash. So, upon a time at a public library in San Francisco, a drag queen arrived to story time and read to the children there she met. The children, no stranger to playing make-believe and fun, and soon took the idea of drag queens hosting story time to spread to New York. It was an unconventional idea both for the normality said libraries and the drag queens, many of whom are more accustomed to hosting nightlife entertainments than emceeing at the daytime shillungs. But quickly caught on. Today, 4 years after the first event, drag performers regularly entertain children at libraries and community centers in progressive enclaves like New York and Los Angeles, as well as red states towns like Alaska and Nebraska. But the popularity of the drag time story crone has grown, so has the backlash. It emerges in libraries, bastions like Brooklyn, and in conservative towns like Tennessee, with critics objecting to both the performers and the books they read, which include classic fairy tales and modern fables about inclusions like Julian is a mermaid. That's not a standard classic fairy tale. Okay, the classic fairy tale is starts with M, wasn't it? Was it Marion? Mermaid? Who's the Mermaid? And by Jessica Love, and Neither by Airline. So they're reading progressive books. So at the end of the day, I can see why the parents are getting upset. They're reading these, these Sanders gay, black, small midget books sort of things now, instead of reading the normal fairy tales. Organisers have met with some very aggressive protests, harassment, and even death threats. I renounce the death threats, guys. Don't do death threats. It doesn't help the situation. I guess the backlash is growing because it's getting more popular, said John Hummett, who co-founded Drag Queen Story Hour, the New York-based non-profit that has helped organise many of these events. He also said that the first New York event in 2016, as his drag Ethe, I know this, but love the support for Drag Story Hour has trumped the hate. Maybe people are just upset because you're trying to go through and push an agenda onto their kids. I don't know. People tend to get a little Nazi when you start going through and you start pushing an agenda onto someone else's kids, don't they? The backlash entered the halls of the Ohio State House last week when Speaker Larry Hossman condemned the drag story time in a letter to the Ohio Library Council. He called the event a stunning and bizarre breach of public trust. He later said that he respects the First Amendment and adds, "I can also assure you that taxpayers aren't interested in seeing their hard-earned dollars being used to teach teenage boys how to become drag queens." Soon afterwards, 2 libraries in Ohio cancelled drag events after receiving what libraries councils said were hostile threats. The Ohio Library Council issued a statement supporting events like Drag Queen Storytime and said public libraries are in community spaces with events that often reflect the diverse expression of Ohioans. With widespread and information and ideas available, it's not surprising that some programs may not align with everyone's personal views or perspectives, it said. However, under the federal law, public libraries do not discriminate nor regulate the content of speech. The Drag Queen Story Hour nonprofit has 35 chapters in the United States and 5 overseas, Mr. Hamill said, and drag performers are children, and drag performances for children unaffiliated with the organization have become more common across the country in recent years. Wherever we go, there is a big community who comes out, especially in more rural or conservative areas. People come far away to support the events. Nothing like this has happened here before, Mr. Hamill said. This is a big need for the area like liberal cities. I think this is absolutely disgusting. Because these people, they're not reading normal books. They're reading books that are going to go through and push a left-wing agenda. They're indoctrinating kids. That's all it is. It's plain and simple normalizing a lifestyle where you're hoping that you can indoctrinate children. Is there any surprise that parents are fed up with this stuff? Is there any surprise that parents are not happy that their kids are being fed a bunch of indoctrination? Well, you imagine these LGBT communities. You imagine if the Trump supporter turned up and tried to indoctrinate their kids, saying what a wonderful President Trump is. Holy shit, the uproar would be amazing. But hey, it's all right because it's different. It's they're progressive. It's different. Yeah, I'm not surprised that these parents are furious. And to be honest, I'm not surprised that the parents are upset. I would be too. What I can suggest, don't send your kids to these libraries that push this agenda. Just make sure they don't push this stuff. That's all it is. If they do, don't send them there. Read the books yourself. Mexico blocks new caravan of Central American migrants. It's funny. Seems to be right after Texas, Trump's new tariff, isn't it? Authorities blocked a new caravan of Central American migrants Wednesday after they entered Mexico bound for the United States. The government scrambled to dodge President Trump's threat to impose tariffs over undocumented immigration. Soldiers and police forced hundreds of migrants in the group, which was mostly from Honduras, to halt in the southern town of Medip de Migi, about 12 kilometers, 7.5 miles from the Mexican-Guatemala border. The National Immigration Institute, INM, said about 420 immigrants have been stopped and taken to detention centers by bus. But many others have fled. State police initially estimated the caravan had some 1,200 people. So in other words, there was about 800 that got away. So I think this is at the end of the day. They realise that if they don't stop these caravans, Trump's going to impose sanctions. That's all it is. Spotify lands an exclusive podcast deal with Barack Obama and Michelle Obama. The Obamas are getting into a podcast business and Spotify has exclusive rights. Spotify announced Tuesday that it has signed a partnership deal with Barack Obama and Michelle Obama, production company Higher Ground, to produce podcasts that are made available only on its streaming platform. The deal comes at the heels of a similar agreement between Higher Ground and Netflix that will see the first couple producing movies and television shows for the Hollywood streamer. Who cares? Another reason not to go through and use Spotify. Whoopi Goldberg bleeped out during a rant on Trump's Normandy visit, or D-Day, Normandy visit. D-Day soldiers don't have bone spares. Thursday on ABC's The View, Whoopi Goldberg was bleeped out during her comment on President Trump's visit abroad. Co-host Jolie Barr said it was rich to watch Trump conduct the anniversary of the D-Day in Normandy. Goldberg said, "I don't want to talk about him there because it irritates the bleep out of me." Obviously, she's swearing. After Goldberg's audio was restored, she continued, "All those people who went and gave their lives, they didn't have bone spares, they went. People went to fight the ugly that was happening and they went and did it. That's all I'm going to say." Yeah, but there have been people on the Democrat side who also dodged as well. And they don't seem to care about those, which I find really rich. President Trump delivers a stunning D-Day speech on the 75th anniversary. So you are the pride of our nation. You're the glory of the republic. We thank you for the bottom of our heart, Trump said to applause. The president honored the troops for our other countries before asserting, and finally there were the Americans. They came from farms and vast heartlands and streets of growing cities and the foreigns of might industry towns. Before the war, many had never ventured beyond their own communities. Now they had come to offer their lives halfway across the world, he said. Which is the reason why Whoopi Goldberg doesn't want to talk about him there, was because CNN actually went through. Jim Acosta and MSNBC praised Donald Trump's D-Day speech. Who would have thought that the military-industrial complex propaganda arm would actually praise the speech by D-Day? CNN White House correspondent Jim Acosta, one of many reporters and commentators who praised Donald Trump on Thursday morning for the speech he gave in front of the world leaders and commemoration of the 75th anniversary of D-Day. Trump took the podium after French President Emmanuel Macron in the Normandy American Cemetery on Omar Beach and the gravesite of more than 9,300 American military members who died in World War II. Funny thing though is at the end of the day D-Day veterans flirt with Melania in front of Trump. A 93-year-old veteran flirted Wednesday with First Lady Melania Trump at a reception in honor of the 75th anniversary of Normandy. As she and President Trump joined Britain's Queen First Elizabeth II and Wales Prince Charles at the reception in honor of the 75th anniversary of the Normandy invasion. We do have that video. It's 2 minutes. We might be able to play it now. You can't hear it. Alright, so the video from the capture between the brief exchange. So it's my honor, believe me. Thank you very much, the president said to the together. Colbert nodded towards Melania and, "This is your wife." Trump said yes, with Colbert replied, "If only I was 20 years younger." Melania laughed and Trump responded with a smile. You can handle it. No question about that much. Here it is here.
It's my round, believe me. It's my round. Thank you very much. We fought well together. You hang with your boy? Yes. It's pretty easy If I was 20 years younger, he could handle it. Very much.
Lovely old man. Watch out, he might get accused of being toxic masculinity. Donald Trump D-Day tribute speech. These men ran through the fires of hell. President Trump paid tribute to the soldiers who fought on D-Day as a part of the 75th anniversary of a historic battle. These men ran through the fires of hell, moved by a force no weapon could destroy. The fierce patriotism of free, proud, and sovereign people. I like Trump's speech regarding D-Day. He did a really, really good job. And big shout out to everybody who did pay the ultimate sacrifice or put their life on the line for D-Day. Without them, we would be speaking a very different language right about now. So big shout out to them. Radical Dem Republican Ilham found guilty of 6 campaign finances. I'm going to record this one too, actually. Radical Democrat Representative Ilham Mallah found guilty of 6 campaign finance violations, ordered to pay fines. And this is not the only problem she's in trouble with, but anyway. Allah Maha, I'm not mispronouncing, was ordered to pay a $500 civil fine for violating financial campaign laws. Had to pay an additional $3,496 fine for improperly using campaign funds to allow an investigation by the Minnesota Campaign Finances and Public Discord Fund. Why was there no full-blown DOJ or FBI investigation into Omar? It appears that Ola married her own brother to defraud the US immigration, yet there has been no investigation into this by the US government. Independent Reports' David Sturger breaks down the new report on Omar and her fraudulent marriage to her brother. Stenberg says Omar may have filed 8 years of fraudulent federal and state tax returns. So here it is here. We're going to jump into this story. Omar paid an additional for opposing finances. But yeah, they're going through and claiming that campaign finance violation here. Married to U.S. investigation of brother, 8 years. As I have written, Omar likely committed a remarkable number of additional felonies due to her fraudulent 2009 to 2017 marriage. Stenberg says. Today report appears to confirm the worst then, that Omar may have 8 years of fraudulent federal and state tax returns. To summarize, the report claims that Omar and Amar Harris filed joint tax returns in 2014 and 2015, yet Ola was legally married to another man from 2009 to 2017. A sitting congressman may have filed 8 years of fraudulent felonies tax returns. So, very interesting. I don't expect anything to happen to her because she has the right politics. But at the end of the day, yeah, I really want to know, why is this woman allowed to possibly file fraudulent tax returns, gets a fine for violating finance violations, but, you know, mainstream media seems really, really quiet on it. It's funny how that works out, isn't it? Alright, citizens disobey New Zealand gun ban. I'm going to record this one too. This will be the last recorded for the day. Citizens disobey New Zealand gun ban. Only 530 of 300,000 people turned in guns. After New Zealand banned people from having guns in reaction to a terrible shooting in March, almost everyone is refusing to obey the law. In March, New Zealand Prime Minister Jacinda Ardern announced the first in a number of moves to restrict the number of results of New Zealand. To restrict the results. Start again. In March, New Zealand Prime Minister Jacinda Ardern announced the first tranche in a number of moves to restrict the rights of New Zealand citizens to protect themselves with firearms. This move was a direct response to horrific murders that unfolded on March 15th. Consequently, this exact move the terrorists wanted who to carry out the attacks had hoped for and predicted. The good news is, however, most citizens are refusing to turn over their guns. The terrorist who murdered 50 people earlier this year was engaging in a classic propaganda of deed which he predicted accurately, and that his murder would spark the reaction of the gun rights. Lawmakers took the bait. So on March 15th, history changed forever. Now our gun laws too, said Ardern, said carried out the sheer will of the terrorist. We will announce action today on behalf of the New Zealanders who strengthen our gun laws and make a country a safer place. What we are banning today are things used in the last Friday's attack, she said, adding it's all about us in the national interest and about safety. According to a new report from the New Zealand, however, the citizens feel safer by holding onto their guns. It's estimated roughly 250,000 people own the recently banned semi-automatic weapons in New Zealand. Estimates show that 250,000 gun owners who were turned into criminals overnight by their government own around 300,000 firearms. Since the government attempted to disarm these 250,000 people, only 530 guns have been handed in. Government officials are attributing the lack of gun turn-ins to the citizens wanting to be properly compensated for their weapons. However, the complexity of the situation is likely far different. If they've been serious about the consideration and ensuring that there is a fair and reasonable compensation, the firearm loaners will wait a bit longer to make sure that it's just fair when it's received. Nicole Meeke, Security Council licensed firearms, told the Herald. I don't think that's the case at all. I think they're not handing them in because they know they're safer with them. Effectively being punished for the actions of foreign terrorists, and we want to make sure that our personal and private property is adequately compensated with confiscated, she said. But in reality, people don't like to want to disarm themselves. This is the only defense against terrorists. Sure, people don't simply want to be robbed of their property without compensation. However, there is an amount of money that can compensate into someone to being defenseless. As TFTP has previously noted, depending on the current government, life in disarmament societies can go peaceful for a while. However, in some cases, citizens, men and women and children are slaughtered by millions as corrupt governments, officials and criminals become only ones who have guns. Even when gun control seems to work in the short term, the scapegoatists are never satisfied. As we see in the United Kingdom, politicians are now going after knives as evil weapons that a law-abiding citizen should ever need. Simply put, guns in the hands of good people leave the playing field against guns in the hands of bad people. It's that simple. This is a tragic case, illustrates that bad guys will always have access to guns, even if they use laws to disarm them. That's alright, man. That's okay. That's good. I was watching another stream of someone I watched that's based out... Oh, okay, cool, yep. The protection attitude of taking guns away from law-abiding citizens to keep guns from criminals is ineffective, self-serving, one-sided, and ignores the benefit of armed society as well as history. The only serves to further oppress those who cannot afford to defend themselves. While it'd certainly be amazing, though, thought to live in a world without guns, it's simply not the case. It's until the case is anyone who wants to defend themselves against their family should be able to do so in any manner they seem fit. The only other option is tyranny. So look, at the end of the day, I do think it's really, really funny that only 530 out of 300,000 guns were handled in New Zealand. Good on New Zealand for sticking up for their gun rights. So, yeah, good on you boys, I suppose. Alright, third last story for the day. Yep. Mother shot home invader and a suspect armed with a hammer. A mother defending her child shot a suspect who, armed with a hammer, entered her Bakersfield, California home on Tuesday. 247 headline reports that the suspect entered the home just after 8 a.m. armed with a hammer. The mother, fearing for herself and her child, grabbed a gun and shot him. Neither the woman nor the child were harmed. Bakersfield.com identified the suspect as a 33-year-old Andrew Omar. He was transported to hospital and treated for non-life-threatening injuries. I am guessing he probably will not want to do a home break-in anytime soon. Look at that. It does work as a deterrent. NBA final ratings crashed. 21% for Game 3, tied for 12-year low. If you thought Games 1 and 2 of the NBA Finals were bad for TV ratings, Game 3 fell even further, hitting a 12-year low, according to the numbers. Which is weird, because didn't the NBA just recently have a Go Woke section? Didn't they recently just go through and talk about there being how woke they were? Deadline Dominican Patton pointed out that the playoffs have realized a 10-year low. After all, another ratings drop for the Raptors winner. NBA final ratings average over a year low so far, he wrote on Twitter. Snaring a 10,018 in metric results. Game 3 crashed 21% from Game 3 of the NBA 2018. Was that a Derringer type of pistol? Yeah. Yeah, it was, yeah. I think so. I'm not surprised the NBA is having problems with ratings. I'm really not. And last story for the day, guys. Poll: Americans believe fake news is a bigger problem than climate change. Oof, oh boy. Doesn't suit the leftist propaganda agenda very well, does it? Americans believe fake news is a bigger problem for the US than climate change or racism, according to a study Wednesday from Pew Research. We're going to record this video as well. Stuff it. Let's do it. Poll: Americans believe fake news is a bigger problem than climate change. Americans believe fake news is a bigger problem for the US than climate change or racism. The left is not going to like this. According to a study from Wednesday from the Pew Research Center, 50% of Americans surveyed said made-up news is a very big problem, but in comparison by only 26% of people saying about the same about climate change, and roughly 40% considered racism to be equally as detrimental for the country. The Pew study surveyed 6,127 US adults, so it's quite a decent section, between February 19th and March 9th, and has a 1.6% margin of error. The Americans are more likely to list the gap between the rich and the poor, drug addiction, and graver problems than made-up news, according to the survey. Pew Research also noted a significant partisan breakdown of the results. The study showed Republicans, for instance, are much more likely than Democrats to identify fake news as a very big problem. People who identify the GOP supporters also likely to say they have reduced amounts of news they get overall. Their concerns over fake news. Pew Research Center conducted a similar survey in 2018, showing that 69% of Americans said the federal government is doing too little to protect water quality of rivers, lakes, and mainstreams. In addition, 67% of the government is not doing enough to mitigate the environmental impacts of climate change. Other polls show millennials are more concerned about man-made global warming than the rest of the US. About 38% of people in ages 18 to 29 agree with the belief that climate change should be a factor when deciding whether to have children. According to the Business Insider, that is in fact scary. They're literally writing themselves out of future generations because of propaganda. Around a third of Americans overall, 33%, believe the same. So it drops a little bit as people get older. Look, at the end of the day, as for this, I'm not surprised. Yeah, people are sick of fake news. So why do you think we're doing this channel? We're sick of it too. The whole world has a problem with fake news. It's not just an American thing. in Australia, New Zealand, UK, America. It's all over Europe. It's everywhere. It's these corporate elitists who run around and try and push an agenda. People are waking up to it, and people are sick of it. I can't blame them. I really, really can't. To be honest, I'm sick of it too. And it's like even people in my modern day, like normal life sort of thing, like even like my parents, like the older generation, even they're waking up to it now. So, yeah, people are, even the older generation have been more woke. But guys, apart from that, that's probably where we're going to leave it today. What are we going for? 2 hours, so not a bad stream, I suppose. Yep, it's quite discouraging. They're quite small. Oh yeah, cool. Apart from that, guys, look, everybody, thanks everybody who has tuned in today. We're going to try and come back to the usual 9 p.m. or 9 a.m. Australian time. So the usual times down the bottom will be tomorrow, hopefully. I don't think I have any more deliveries or anything today, so it should be business as usual. Big shout out to everybody who did come in and join us today. Big shout out to everybody who does who does share these videos. Big shout out to everybody who does smack that like button. Eric has been in chat for pretty much most of it. Amtrak has been in most of it. I've seen you guys in here all the time. Who else? Joe was in here for a bit. Yeah, so big shout out to you guys who literally turn up every week or every day to listen to me prattle on. Because let me know what your thoughts are in the comment section below. Obviously, if you do want to join the live show, or if you want to participate in the comments in the chat for the live show, times are in the bottom below. Apart from that, guys, as for my internet, it's reportedly coming up as July 2020 now. It's been deferred for almost a year, although I'm suspecting that's just them putting in a blanket date. I don't think it's going to be that long. So we'll just have to wait to see what happens with that. As I said before, independent people on YouTube are doing a better job at reporting, covering the news than legacy multi-million-dollar media corporations. Exactly right. You look at people like Tim Pool, me, like even the people that are known to be biased, like Steven Crowder or Phil DeFranco, for example. You know, that at least they're honest about their bias. So, yeah. Mainstream media it's just all fake. It's just all fake news. Yeah. But I don't know. Guys, let me know what your thoughts are in the comment section below. Big shout out to everybody, like I said, who's came, saw, and conquered. And tomorrow, guys, we'll be back at the same bat time, same bat station. I am going to have to go and do some 12-volt rewiring. So feel sorry for me because I'm about to climb through my roof. Yay! Apart from that, guys, have a great night, enjoy, and we'll see you tomorrow. Have a great night, everybody.